Jay, can you send something to submission? Or he's asking if you received it.
Where did Mary go?
Hello, Jenna.
Hey, Terry. Oh, are you in Italy?
Yes.
I think I'm in Thailand.
Oh, it looked like Italy.
Yeah, he has a different background. I'm sitting in my bedroom.
Girl, put your clothes back on. Lisa. She said she was there.
Lisa, I didn't see that.
Look how tech savvy we all are.
Oh, let me mute my phone.
Brenda here.
Lisa, what you say?
Lisa. Let me go to the honor of the flag. I haven't heard anybody talking.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
We see you.
Okay.
Hey there. I announced that I was here. My video is not working.
That's why I came to tell you.
Yeah. What's that, Jan? Yeah. Eric Smith is there. Yes. All right. Go ahead. Hello, everybody. I think everybody's ready to get started, so we'll turn it over to Ms. Wood, if she can open up the meeting or do whatever.
Before we do that, can we go ahead and have a little prayer before we get started?
Okay.
Claudia, will you offer a prayer for us?
Be happy to. Dear Heavenly Father, we acknowledge our dependence upon you today. Dear God, we ask that you move in the hearts of our public officials and give us all a heart of love, mercy, and truth, and just show us how to face the challenges of our school system and this new coronavirus. Father, we ask that you bless our superintendent, the board, and our administration with wisdom and discernment. Our teachers, staff, and students and parents with commitment, patience, and compassion. Dear God, we place our work and ourselves in your hands. Please anoint our creativity, our ideas, and our energy so that even the smallest task will bring you honor. And God, when we're challenged, guide us. When we're weary, just energize us. And may the work that we do and the way that we do it bring hope and life and courage to all of us. And through it all, Father, we ask that you give comfort to those who grieve the loss of their loved ones and protect and guide those who strive to find the cure so that their work can conquer this disease and restore our community to wholeness and health. And we just ask these blessings in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Man. Thank you. Are we ready to open this meeting?
Yes.
If that's the case, I would like to call it to order, please. And I am seeing that we have a quorum. Let me make sure everybody is here. If you would just say hi or hello when I call your name. Dr. Keith, District 1.
Here.
Dr. Doremus, District 3.
Good afternoon. I'm here.
Ms. Briers.
Here.
Ms. Morgan, Bailey. Jana? Jana, are you here?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. I'm here. Sorry.
Hey, Claudia, I know is here. And Erica, I think I see you.
I'm here.
Okay, so we have a quorum and everyone should have received their packet. So I'd like to see if I could get a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam President, I move that we adopt the agenda as printed.
I
Second.
Well,
Okay.
pick one.
Again, because we're not in where we can see hands raised, let me just call through, and if you would say your approval or a yes or a no. Dr. Keith?
Approve. Yes.
Brenda? Brenda?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Claudia?
Yes.
And Erica?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. I have a few things I'd like to say, really heartfelt things I'd like to say, because there are plenty of good things to say right now of things that are going on in MPS. And it's because of the employees of MPS. For instance, we're feeding all the children in Montgomery, or we're feeding the ones in 16 different school sites. The MPS Child Nutrition Program and Operations Department have made sure that no kids are going hungry. We've also, starting tomorrow, we've got 6 buses that are going to be placed throughout the city that will provide Wi-Fi to students who may not have access in their homes. We need to thank MPS's technology department. We need to thank the city of Montgomery and MGM Tech for helping make that possible. We have teachers and principals who have gone above and beyond the call of duty to help do video conferencing, to make videos, to have packets for these children so that they can continue to learn while we're in this very, very odd time we're in. And a thank you to the families. They are making sure their students continue to learn. I think it can't be stressed enough how important parents are to this equation. There are a lot of people who are doing an awful lot right now to help. And I think that everyone needs to know that the Board of Education is equally committed to making this work through this time. We pull all together and we're going to make good things happen. At this time, I'd like to turn this over to, we have some receive as information, and I'm not sure who's going to present, but we start with emergency suspension of policy.
Talk about that. Hello, everybody. Earlier, and then Mr. Seal is online with us also. he can explain to you a little bit about it. I sent you the resolution that came from the ASB regarding how we can operate electronically. And so you all agreed to that. And so tonight I have this on the agenda because I want to make it an official part of the minutes so that we can have a reflection of what we've actually done. So that's basically what we have here as far as received information is concerned. I sent that to you, so you have copies of it, and you all agree that we can do it the way that we're doing it now. And that's what that's about, okay? So the next item, which has to do with the cancellation of the April 25, 2002 lease to Wall Community Park and Recreation. Mr. Seal is on board, and he can tell you a little bit more about that, please.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Bud,
I sent you the letter because I knew that we would be on a video conference. As you could see from the letter and from the lease, this was a 99-year lease that was approved by the board back in April of 2002. And best I can tell, I'm not even sure that I don't know what the board owned at the time that this lease was entered into. I'm pretty confident that we did not own the 2 acres, which is subject to the sales contract that we've got that right there on the corner of the property. But in any event, as I pointed out in my letter to you, a 99-year lease has got to be recorded to be valid. This lease was not recorded. If a 99-year lease is not recorded, then at most it can be valid for 20 years. To clear title to, if we are able to go forward with the sale, this lease has got to be canceled. Even if we didn't have the lease, the sale, the lease would probably need to be canceled anyway. I have asked to obtain a title opinion on the balance of the property, which is the 8+ acres, which, as I pointed out to you, has been assessed in the state of Alabama's name since 1923. And because the state owns so much property, that the ownership of that, title to that, could not be quickly determined. And I put a postscript on the letter that I sent you. What I can tell you is that the board conveyed title to the 2.4 acre tract of land to the county commission back in July of 2004, and that we actually received title to the 2 acre tract of land from the county in 2004. Now there is a January 15, 2004 deed where the board conveyed that 2 acres of land to the county, and then the county conveyed it back to us. I'm uncertain what all that was about, but in any event, the county, if we own the property, the county does own the 2.4 acres. That's where they have their the park. The park is adjacent to adjacent to a parking lot that is adjacent to a church. And if you looked at the little aerial that I sent you, the church sits in the back of the property, and that is not any property that we or that is in the 12.85 acres of land that was subject to that 99-year lease. We this week, today's Tuesday. I think it came Monday, yesterday, if not Monday, Friday. We got a notice from the purchaser of the property that they were going to cancel the contract because because they could not erect the building that they had, that they wanted to erect. Yesterday, I got to looking into this, as did Bill Eskridge, and we determined that there's a zoning restriction that would prevent Dollar General from building the building that they want to build on the property. Mr. Watson, I've had conversations about this, and we're looking into seeing if we cannot change the zoning on that to keep the sales contract in place. We just started that yesterday. Irrespective of whether this sale is able to go forward because of that, we need to look into changing the ownership, changing the zoning on that, so that it is that 2 acres of land would you be able to have a commercial enterprise on it, which is not the case at present. If you look at that that little aerial, you'll see that 2 acres sits right there
Are we still
on the
together?
corner of Marlow Road. I'm sorry, somebody asked a question.
Uh,
Mary, I can't hear you.
What, we would have to rezone that for a commercial, right? If that.
You have to, yes, ma'am. You'd have to have it rezoned to permit a commercial structure to go up on that, which apparently, and I have not seen the zoning. Bill was trying to run that down and get a letter from Pike Road as to why it could not go forward. So I do not I do not know what the present zoning is, other than the fact that Pike Road has told the prospective purchaser that they could not erect the building that they want to put up on the property.
Real quick.
Okay, well, let me ask
Go
this,
ahead.
Mayor Byers again. Okay, if in 20 years, it's invalid anyway, so
Correct.
at 2022, then this would be kind of like moot or something, are you saying that?
Yes, ma'am. In a 99-year lease that
Alexa,
is not
end call.
recorded is only valid for 20 years.
Right, so that would be 2022.
May the 1st of 2022, they would not have any interest in the property. Mr. Watt, they sent Mr. Watts a letter, and they in that letter they indicate that they have plans to build a structure on that. Mr. Watts and I have tried to have some conversations with the people that sent the letter, and I asked the only lady that I was Miss Patterson. I asked Miss Patterson if she would give me the name of their counsel so that I could just discuss the legal matters with them, and they refused to do that. And she kept, I told her that there were some issues with the lease, and I would suggest that they not spend any more money on this, that we wouldn't want to see them lose anything. And she became angry with me and hung up in my face. And I believe Mr. Watts, she essentially did about the same thing with you. So Mr. Watson, I just decided we'd not have any further conversations with him, and we'd just let the board vote, and then we would take action at that time.
Okay, and that's Pat Patterson.
Yes, ma'am. That's Ms. Patterson.
President, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Seal, could you talk a little bit about 8C in the agreement?
Yes, ma'am. Eight. See, let me.
Page 2. Who's deal?
HC that says on 30 days written notice by the lessor, which would be the board, to the lessee, that the lessor desires the premises for its use in the furtherance of the discharge of its duties to operate a public school system, you can cancel the lease. And that's what I'm suggesting, that we cancel the lease on. We have a sale for the property, and that the lease be canceled on that grounds, and we proceed to have the property rezoned, and hopefully we can go forward with the sale.
Mr. Spud, real quick, you said it would have to go before the zoning committee. Would that be the Pike Road zoning committee, or would that be?
Yeah, no, ma'am, that would be Pike Road. This, as I understand it, this is in the town limits of Pike Road.
Okay,
It's at the Wall community. It's in the Wall community, but that is within the Pike Road town limits, as I understand. It's if you're familiar where the Waters is, it's probably a mile back toward Highway 85, and let's see, I think that would be north. It's a mile, maybe north of the entrance to the Waters, a mile thereabouts in any event, and it's maybe a mile if after you turn off of Highway 80 onto Marla Road, and there's a loop there.
Yes.
And this sits on the corner of that. The 2 acres sits on the corner of that property. Clinton Carter was as you saw from the lease, was the superintendent at that time, and Ms. Byers and I've had a conversation, and we both remember something about this, but Ms. Byers wasn't on the board. And the only thing and I did try to call Clinton, and matter of fact, I called a couple of times, and I think they must be out of town, because he did not call me back. Now, I do remember something about a hiking trail, and that 2.48 acres that the county commission owns does have a hiking trail around it, and then it's also got playground equipment on it, like children's playground equipment, and the like the road that the loop around that, there is a nice subdivision behind that, and I guess I do not know what makes up the Wall Community Park and Recreation Group.
But it's my understanding that really what our concern is tonight is canceling that April 25th lease. Is that correct? April 25th, 2002.
Yes, ma'am. And then if the board should see fit to do that, then I would give them notice. I'd send that notice tomorrow, and we got to give them 30 days. And it would probably be, today's April the 15th, or we'd probably just cancel it June the 1st.
Okay, thank you.
This is Brenda. I had some concerns about all of this because I wanted to be a little bit more informed. I think I'm hearing basically what I need to hear, in that there will be no future legalities against us if we cancel a lease that was never valid in the first place. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, ma'am. What if we did nothing? Their lease terminates in 2 years. The lease that we gave them, the April 25th, 2002 lease, to be honest, I don't know what we actually owned on April the 25th of 2002. I don't know whether we own the 12.85 acres, which is the subject matter of the lease, or not. As I told Ms. Briers, apparently we owned 2.48 acres, or the county thought we owned 2.48 acres because we swapped that. Now, no money changed hands. I mean, that was $1 and other good and valuable consideration. And the consideration for the transfer of the 2.4 acre lot was that we got the 2 acres back just a few days later. And when we got it from the county, or when we sold it to the county originally, that it was a $1 and other good and valuable consideration. So I mean, I guess I don't know why or how all this transpired back in 2004.
Spud, real quick, after you mentioned something about if we do nothing in 2 years, that it will revert back. What will it revert back
Well,
to if it's terminated?
Ms. Smith, the lease, there would not be any lease
Okay.
in 2 years.
Okay.
I say it's just as if there wasn't any lease, because since it was not recorded, it could only be valid for a maximum of 20 years. And on May the 1st of 2022, there is no lease.
Okay.
I mean, this group, first of all, I doubt that the group could get any financing, even if it were a 99-year lease, to build a structure on it. Maybe they could, but I know they can't get any financing to build a structure with just 2 years remaining on the lease. And that lease provides that any improvements on it become the property of the board. So, I mean, in reality, I think that the cancellation of the lease and putting everybody back in the position they were in originally is probably the best thing for everybody.
And also, we no longer want to accept any lease payment from this group. No, if that's been done in the past. But I know we sent the last check back, so we don't want to be in that position to have to accept the lease payment.
Well, I mean, the lease for the rental for 12.85 acres of land was $10 a year. That's somewhat ridiculous anyway.
Agreed.
Okay, Brenda again, and thank you, Dr. Moore, for bringing up the money. You say it's been sent back, so that makes sense. That's a good thing. Why was it $50 if it was $10 per year?
Well,
Were they already behind?
They were paying 5 years at a time, if I'm not mistaken.
my best guess is that they got wind of the sale, and Mr. Watts, correct me if I'm wrong, but they wanted to pay you 5 years in advance. Isn't that right?
Yes, that is correct. And of course, I mailed the check back to them, and they explained to them that at this particular time that we do not want to enter into an agreement. And so when I mailed the check to them, of course, they accepted the check and they mailed it back to me. And so now I have the check now, but I have voided that check. And upon the board's approval of terminating the lease agreement, is what I'd like to give you that check so you can send it back with your letter to them terminating the lease.
Yes, I think that would be appropriate.
Thank you.
Claire, back to you.
Okay, if there are no more questions on that, we're going to move on to our financial statements. Thank you, Spud.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Will, I'm gonna sign off unless I'm needed.
No, thank you so much.
Thanks for that clarification.
Okay,
Ma'am,
Okay, Mr. Watts.
hello. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Moore. You should have before you the financial statement for the month of February of 2020. Of course, as we know, February represents the 5th month of the fiscal year, in which the 5th month of a fiscal year is about 41.67% of a fiscal year. Let's just say 42%. In the financial statement, it should have the explanation of financial data, in which I kind of give an overview of where our finances stand, a snapshot analysis that provides a quick overview of those finances, monthly budget percentages, as I stated, this is the 5th month of the fiscal year. Monthly comparative statement of revenues and expenditures provides our annual and monthly revenues as of 2019 and compare that to 2020. Have a statement of cash flow, which is an info of our revenues and expenditures. Then, of course, there's a pie chart and some other combined financial statement information. If you return to tab 2 in the financial statement, I'll be very brief, Madam President. You will note to the left that it says General Fund Budgetary. As of February 2020, of course, we had a beginning fund balance of about $19.6 million. We received total revenues of about $109 million. Total expenditures of about $90.6 million. So we have a current fund balance of about $38.1 million as of February of 2020. Now, earlier I stated that our expenditures or our percentage of budget is about 42%. You see that we have a note here that says expenditures as a percent of our budget is 40%. So we're really 2% below what we budgeted, which is really, really good. Our revenues is about 48%, which that's really good too. However, I do want to just point out that we received the majority amount of our property taxes that usually come in between the months of December and February. So we have received that. Again, our fund balance is about $38.1 million. Our required 1 month fund balance by the state is about $18.8 million. So we see that we are pretty much far beyond what the state requires us to retain. However, much of this fund balance is already budgeted for future months' expenditure. I'd also like to just kind of talk about the financial effect as it relates to this COVID-19, some of the things that we're looking at. As you know, we received about $25 to $26 million in county sales taxes. And so with the state of emergency that was just issued, I think it was in March 13th, then of course that would have some bearing on our sales taxes. Now, I believe in the month of March, it's not going to affect us that much, those sales tax revenues, because really, I don't know if people was really getting into taking it as serious in the month of March as they are now. But we are projecting that there will be a hit in our sales taxes, which we'll have to go back and amend our budget from the month of April, May, June, July, August, and September. So while we project to receive about $2.1 million per month in sales tax revenues, we're going to take a hit there. So I really don't know exactly how much it'll be. We have reached out to the county commission. They said that it's too early now to know how much of a hit that we would take, but we will stay on top of that and we will report that back to you. Also,
Mr. Watts,
yes, ma'am.
in thinking about the hit to the sales tax on the revenue side, for our operations, we are going to have fewer expenses too, are we not?
That is correct. Yes, I was going to mention that. Absolutely. We should have fewer expenditures in the area of operation, especially in the area of utilities, because many of the buildings are closed and we should be just operating just a few portions of those buildings. So yes, we do expect some savings in several of our operational line items. So it's hopeful that that would make up some of that or backfill some of that losses. Also, the state is providing us what is called flexibility in several of our state fund sources, where they are saying that even if you have, let's just say, at risk or various other funds, and if those funds are not utilized, then we may be able to push some of our general fund expenditures up into those fund sources. So that would free up monies in our general fund. Now the thing about that is that the grand majority of all of our state revenue fund sources are salaries and benefits. And as you know, we do have to continue to pay employees up to the end of their contract year. But then we do see where there will be some savings from that flexibility provision. Now, we are also projecting to receive some monies called federal, I'm sure you all have heard this on the news, some stimulus monies. Now, I'm not talking about, the tax stimulus money that may come into many of you all's account, but I'm talking about some federal stimulus monies that will be remitted to states and school districts. So we're projecting to receive maybe over $10 million in stimulus dollars. But I've stated to the staff that these will be one-time revenues. So while we'll be able to maybe backfill much of the money that we're losing, it will provide an opportunity for us to do some other things too. Of course, we don't know exactly how much it is how much it would be just yet. We're just projecting it'll be probably close to about $10 million. Now going into, let me also just state in for fiscal year 20, although the State Education Trust Fund now will be receiving fewer dollars because, as you know, the State Education Trust Fund receives the majority of its funding from state sales taxes and state income taxes. So sales taxes and income taxes make up the grand majority of the Education Trust Fund. We know that unemployment has been huge in the state of Alabama as it has been in the nation. We also know that the malls and retail and restaurants and several of those entities have been either closed or delayed to quite a bit. Therefore, the Education Trust Fund is going to receive fewer dollars. However, we are fortunate for fiscal year 2020 that the state did have what is called a state proration prevention account or a state stabilization account, where they, I think back in 2009, when they had the economic downturn, the legislature did pass something to curve off some of the monies that was going into the Education Trust Fund to be put aside just in case there was a shortfall in revenues again. So the state have over $300 million in that fund source. Therefore, they believe that if need be, they can tap into that particular fund and backfill any shortfall revenues for fiscal year 2020. So we do not foresee any type of proration or anything like that for fiscal year 2020. In 2021, as you know, the legislature they'll still be meeting. I think when they report back, or have they reported back yet? Is it April? Sometime in April or May that they report back? I don't recall the date that they report back to start working on the budgets again. But from what I'm hearing is that it's going to be a pretty bare bones budget, where they'll pretty much level fund based on what we receive for fiscal year 2020. So those funds will probably be level unless they decide to come back and change something. Now, although that those funds would be level, please keep in mind that we did lose about 44 to 45 teacher units. That was just based on our student population. So we will have to make those adjustments as it relates to our teacher units. And Ms. Gillis is currently working on that now. So we're taking care of all of that. We still are confident that we'll continue to retain our 1 month fund balance for fiscal year 2020. And based on what I'm seeing now, I think we'll be able to retain that in 2021. I just think that we have to be prepared to continue to make adjustments as the state, federal, or whatever adjustment come about locally, we just have to be prepared to make those adjustments. But I don't see any reason as to why we would not continue to retain the 1 month fund balance as required by the state. Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. You know, it is a very uncertain time, but you know, hopefully we'll come out all right. I hope.
I think we will. I really do.
Anybody have questions for Mr. Watts? If not, go ahead. No questions? Then we'll go ahead and talk about the Jeff Davis High School HVAC system renovation.
This is one of the projects that we've been working on and I've been telling you about along the way. This will finalize the phases. We completed the first phase of it, which was about $1.5 million worth several years ago, and this will finish it out. This is ETF money that we'll be operating off of from this year, and this is the low bid contract that you received in your packet.
Does anybody have questions about this renovation? This will complete Jeff Davis's HVAC system, will it not?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. It's off the old system that they're on, and it is on its last leg. So this is desperately needed. It's something that could definitely shut down the school going into next year when we get back in, if something were to happen.
Okay, any questions on that? Then Dr. Moore, I will turn the consent agenda part to you.
Okay, before we get into that, I want to ask you to the classified minutes, certified, pool, I'm sorry, I said classified, I meant certified, pool number 35 and number 47. 35 and 47 from the certified minutes. That being said, I recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a motion?
That we
make-
have-
Madam,
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and that we pull from support personnel minutes numbers 35.
35, I thought.
Certified, I'm sorry. Certified, 35 and 47
35 and 47
from the
Yeah.
certified.
from the certified personnel minutes.
Second.
A second.
Okay, any discussion on this?
Yes, I'd like to say something. With the COVID-19 out, I'm not understanding why we're hiring, coaches for July, and I'm not understanding why we're hiring like the math curriculum instructor person right now to come in June. And I guess I didn't understand the $500 a month supplement to some people that were already making well over $85,000. So I mean, at a time when I'm just having an issue with that.
Okay, Ms. Gillis will respond to that.
I'll take them one at a time, Dr. Let's start. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Let's start with the coaches. Those are central office personnel that we need to have in place so that C&I, although we're still making instructional decisions. Math is one of our lowest performing areas. And so to get that help where curriculum instruction would be awesome. Whether we go back to school or not, we're still going to need curriculum help. So we pushed it off as far as we can, possibly can, to make sure that we have people in place take care of those things. And for the coach situation, that person you're responding to or the number you're responding to is for football. Some things will still have to happen for football. So we need to get those people, get that person in place and start getting that together when we can't go back to school. And then finally, the supplements are for people that took on additional duties because we had some vacancies. We had some, well, both of the positions were retirements. And then we had.
Madam President,
Okay, but are these contracts going to start paying even though during COVID-19 they might still be sitting at home?
Let me interrupt. Would everybody mute when we're not talking, because it gets a lot of feedback? If you're not talking, would you mute it? Because I'm having a hard time hearing. If y'all don't mind. Thank you.
Is everyone muted now? Is that better? Just shake your head. Okay. All right, great. Dr. Keith, can you still hear me? Shake for me, Dr. Keith. Okay, great.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. All right. Will you want me to start again? Want me to start over? Do like
no.
No. Okay, I hear some yeses and some no's. Dr. Keith, will you unmute so I can see what you need for me to say?
Okay. I just, all I want to know is, like, say the coach and say July that we're still parked at home and they're not playing, football. Is he still getting paid that because there's a $10,000 almost supplement added to his contract already?
Yes. Well, because there's other things that he has to do in order to get the football team ready for the season. More than just, having guys out there practicing. They have to get physicals done. They've got to get equipment ordered. All of those things still have to happen.
Okay. What about the $500 supplements to some of the employees that I remember we questioned before? I'm not understanding the $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year.
Right. Those who filled in spots, we had a communication person to retire. We had someone to fill in that spot. We had a career tech position, and we had people to actually assume all of those duties on top of what they were already doing. So if they had a job description that had 12 things on it, then they took 6 of those. We split it between 2 people because we divided those other tasks between 2 people and then split the supplement in half.
So really, Kim, we're actually saving. We didn't hire somebody in that spot. We just had somebody take on their job, so to speak, or parts of it, and we just increased their pay by $500. So we're really saving.
You're saving a whole. The person who retired made a considerably more than $500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me back off for a minute. I need you to repeat that because you told it. It's not you. I'm going to mute because it's just coming across choppy.
Okay. Give me a second.
Claudia and Mary, if y'all are mute too, it helps everybody else hear when you're not talking.
I was muted, but I unmuted because I wanted to ask Kim a question, but I will mute again and unmute when the time comes.
Okay. I will say that, yes, we're saving a considerable amount of money because we have not had a career tech director for several months. So that salary is no longer being paid, along with the other salary that's in question. $500 a month for the amount of work that they've done is really just a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of work, and especially this time of year when we have a lot of things going on, prepping for our new courses and all of that.
It's good to hear. Good to hear.
Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Bryce had a question.
Ms. Byers? Unmute, Ms. Byers, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't have a question. My concern was, and I'm glad to see that these 2 positions, I had a concern when they were cut because they were doing the work, we were to hire a career tech person and counselor and all of that at that time, and we did not, but these people were not being paid, but they were still doing their responsibilities and other responsibilities as well. Am I correct on that? Because I was a little concerned since we didn't have someone in a position, why were their supplements taken from them?
Well,
I'm
sorry,
I-
Myers.
okay?
You are correct. Let's say that we were trying to be very frugal. Our plan was to interview and hire for that position. We did interview, but nothing came out of it as far as a hire. So we didn't want to, when we originally gave the supplement and you all approved it, we didn't want to extend it to the end of the year because we thought we would hire someone. And if you had approved for it to go to the end of the year, we would have still had to pay those people, even if we had hired someone. So we chopped it up. We knew we would start interviewing right after Christmas. So we said we paid them up until November 30th, if I'm not mistaken. And then if we found someone, you wouldn't be held hostage by something the board approved. So we tried to do forward thinking. But then when we did not, those people are still doing the work, filling in the gaps for the person that we don't have. So I thought it fair, and we know right now we're not going to hire one more person until the end of the school year because that contract will start at a later time. So we can honestly say that we can go to the end of the year, which would be that end date you see in your minutes. So you're absolutely correct, but that was the rationale. Not that we were trying to cut them short. We were just trying to make sure we were not paying more than one person in the same position.
Okay, I just wanted you to explain that for me. I'm satisfied with that.
Okay.
This is Ms. Smith. I have one question, and you did answer it about basically impact. But my other question, just going back to what we've been doing, will we still continue to collect data from those who have resigned just to kind of build, continue to look at our culture and climate? That's all I really wanted to know.
You asked that. I actually followed up with our HR directors to make sure they had sent out those surveys to the people who we got resignations for. And they assured me that they had, and I told them I would be collecting that data once minutes more approved. I don't want to jump the gun and assume anything. But once then, I'll look at the data again. And anytime you want feedback and you want to see that data, I can pull it up on the screen or send it to you just like I did at the board meeting. I'll be happy to do that. That's real easy for us to do.
Well, can we do a preliminary, maybe about June or July? That far out, is it? Just put a preliminary date out.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's real easy for us to do. I do want to encourage you all. You said you would send me some additional questions that you wanted me to add to the survey. I haven't received anything yet, so if you still have some additional ones, with you. We've already sent out that first set of surveys for the ones that we have had in the past, from past minutes. But before I send out again, if you have some additional questions you'd like to add, this will be a great time for you to do that in the next week or so.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Are there further questions or further discussion on the consent agenda? You can raise your hand if I can see you, if you have one. I see none. So I am going to call for a vote. And again, just so we have it, since this is all new to us, I am going to call for it by district. We'll start with Dr. Lisa Keith, District 1.
I'm voting no, but I have to vote no on the consent because I would like to vote yes, but I forgot about it at the very beginning to say pull the one on the classified. So I'm going to have to vote no for everything. The consent agenda has always just gotten me, I'm not used to it, Claire. And the new meeting compounded with this made me forget to step up and go, hey, let's pull this one. So I'll vote no.
Okay. Dr. Coleman, District 3.
I vote yes.
Mary Briers, District 4.
Yes.
Jana Bailey, District 5.
Yes.
Claudia Mitchell, District
Yes.
6. Erica Smith, District 7,
Yes.
and Claire Wheel, District 2, yes. So the consent agenda passes. I want to say one little final thing before we adjourn, and that is the people sitting at the table before you, I think have done an absolutely phenomenal job in the most incredible circumstances. I just want to give one last shout out for what a great job the leadership team is doing, and all the teachers, principals, everyone in MPS. I think we've pulled together and made the best out of a bad situation. So with that, our next meeting will be Tuesday, May the 12th. It'll be a regular. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I had a couple of questions well, not questions. I don't know, this is y'all's happy for the month and happy for quarantine. Does everybody know Kevin King and the King's Canvas, the local artist? Okay, so I don't know if you saw on Facebook, he did this. Can everybody see that? He did this in recognition of everybody that's graduating, the seniors this year. So I had him do a print for all the board members and all of the high school principals at MPS. And this is Dr. Morse, and he signed the back to everybody. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
Very nice.
you know, we are in really weird times, and Kevin is such an awesome artist, and he painted this because he has a daughter that's graduating next year or this year, I can't remember, but it really spoke to me. I mean, this is a really weird year, but I think about those seniors, but I wanted us all to have a memento of this senior year, because last year we were attending those graduations. So this year we'll remember it. And if you have a chance to thank Kevin, please do. He is wonderful and just very committed to this community. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
board members, Dr. Moore, staff, I wanted to take this opportunity to say that over the past 4 weeks, State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey repurposed everybody's position and had all the assistant superintendents assuming other roles. Our role was the 1-800 number and the parent information and question line. To date, we've had over 550 inquiries that required me to interact with superintendents all over the state. And for the first 3 weeks, there was 0 MPS correspondence. And so I'm telling you that because, you know, that means that the team and the staff and the principals and the teachers were doing everything that they could to support people. Last week, we had a couple of issues that were just technical issues. A lot of it is logistical based on where people are. Some of our hard to serve areas because of broadband access. They made arrangements to have packets dropped off. And so I just want to applaud you. When you look at 142 districts, including the charter schools, I touched many of those districts, and MPS, being the third largest, had some of the fewest inquiries or concerns from parents. And I just want to say, good job, Dr. Moore. And I wanted to do that publicly to the board, Madam President.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roller.
Madam President, Mary Pryor.
Thank you.
Yes, Mary.
I would just like to give accolades to Mrs. Jade Smith, who just joined us, and the exemplary job that she did with getting us set up for this meeting today. This is our first time, as many of you have said, and I think we need to give her accolades.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I totally agree. I agree. Yes. I like her a lot.
I agree.
Okay, any other comments before we adjourn until May the 12th? Please wash your hands. Stay away from people. as best you can and be safe and secure where you are. Thank you. I don't have a gavel, but our meeting is now adjourned.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
We're muted and the camera is off, but I want to make sure everybody logs off. Just want to make sure that you get the last recording.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we can end meeting now. End meeting. Do you want to end the meeting? Yes. Save meeting.